Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Box of Roses podcast. I'm Xander Rose, and with me always is Alex Box. Alex, how are you, mate?
I'm good, Xander. How are you going, mate?
Good, mate, good. Well, the special guests just keep on coming in. He's an Aussie wrestling veteran. He's the hypnotic Chris Tr. Chris, how are you, pal?
Doing very well, thanks.
That's good, mate. What's been happening?
Surviving this lockdown, missing the wrestling business, but it's been good. It's been giving me some time to let the body recover a bit. It's been many years of wrestling, so it's good to have some time off.
Good stuff. So, obviously, you're based in Melbourne, yeah?
Yeah, just down here in Melbourne. We've got pretty hard lockdowns at the moment as well as you guys. But yeah, I've been coming up to Sydney for the last 3 years for VCW. So it's been a fun time.
So, Chris, how did you get into the wrestling business?
I think like with most guys in the wrestling business, we've all wanted to do it since we were very young. So when I was about 16, I used to go to some local shows and I got the information for the living legend down here, George Julio, from a guy named Firestarter, who unfortunately passed away a few years back. And so I gave him a call, and George, being the old Maltese wrestler with the broken English, I'm 16 years old, I was so excited, and he's like, okay, I need your mum's consent. And now, for those who don't know, I was hit by a car when I was 13, and I broke my neck, nearly paralyzed from the neck down. So if anyone's wondering what that tattoo on my back of my neck is, if you ever see me in action, it says dream, believe, succeed. So the first time I went to Japan, that was kind of like some success for me, when I thought maybe I wouldn't have been able to do this passion of mine. So mum wouldn't sign the waiver, so I had to wait out until I was about 18, and then finally I had 2 flyers for 2 different promotions down here in Melbourne, one PCW and one PWA, which you guys know there's another chapter in Sydney, PWA. So the original was in Melbourne, and they got back to me. They had just opened up the school. They're like, come down, check it out, see what you think. As soon as I got there and I got in that ring, I'm like, I'm doing this. So, yeah, a guy named Trent Brash was my original trainer, and Jay Andrews, who Jay Andrews now runs the MCW school. So 2 very good trainers, and Henry Lobo, he was the head of it all, and Lobo was a bit of a wrestling legend at that stage here, especially doing for the hardcore matches. So I had some very good mentors to start off with. We later progressed, and unfortunately PWA closed up, and so did PCW. PCW went on a bit of hiatus, so we're sort of just jumping around different promotions, just getting experience where I could, and then PCW started up again, and I was there for a good solid 10 years, and they're probably one of the best promotions here in Melbourne right now, most professional. So yeah, that was my journey into wrestling.
Yeah, nice. You mentioned you were a fan since you were young. So who was your favorite wrestler when you were younger?
I always loved Kevin Nash. Now, the wrestling purists aren't a big fan of Kevin Nash, but he was one to make, like he says, he made a lot of money in this business, so that's a good side. But probably it tailored a lot of my wrestling career, and the likes of Macho Man and Ric Flair. I really like those really big, over-top characters with their personalities and stuff. And so, yeah, I think Ric Flair was a bit of inspiration because, for those who don't know, he had an airplane crash in the 70s, broke his neck. And so when I knew I broke my neck, I was like, oh, well, if he did it, I can do it, But I love the outlandish character of the Macho Man. I think a lot of people did. So.
Yeah. Can I say something? I've seen some photos of you dressed up as Randy Savage, and let me tell you, mate, honestly, Alex, if you haven't seen it, you got to see it. We might even post it up on the Facebook page. But
that's something I'd love to see.
Yeah, I promise you. I think he was. He maybe went. I think he actually went to a WrestleMania or something like that. Anyway, it was something. You went to WWE and watched something. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was actually the big showdown here in Melbourne they did at the
Oh, yeah.
MCG. And me and my old tag team partner / manager, Shane Hero, and shout out to Shane Hero, and his brother Warwick, which was known as the Lawyer for many years down here in PCW. We dressed up as the Macho Man and the $1 Million Man and Mean Gene Oakland. And to put things into perspective, how busy we were that night, the $1 Million Man had the $1 Million notes printed out, and he knew he had about 200 of them printed out. And everyone that took a photo with us, we gave them a note. So we knew we took over 200 photos that night. Got ourselves onto the WWE Snapchat. And if you look at the pay-per-view online, I'm pretty sure there's a few glimpses of us sitting in the crowd because we're quite close. So it was awesome. A fun night.
Yeah, like it was dead set, like almost like a doppelganger of Randy Savage. You got to say it. But yeah, like I said, we will. Yeah, it was so good. It doesn't it so good too with the hand in the air, and you got to say it. It's fantastic. But no, that's good. What was it like, or what is it like working for Vulcan?
Vulcan is very much the professionalism that I look for in wrestling. He very kind of old school and showing respect to those who came before you and your colleagues and stuff. So I think we hit it off really well. And I think it's great working with him. He actually really cares about his wrestlers. And yeah, I mean, even today, like we haven't seen each other for a few months because of shows. We still check in on each other. He's a friend as well as a promoter, which is great.
So what's the highlight of your wrestling career? You know, you've been doing it for a while now. You know, what is there any moment in particular that, you know, really stands out?
Yeah, I look back on my career sometimes, and I've been very fortunate to do a lot of things. Traveled to Japan, traveled to New Zealand. But the biggest travel that was really big to me was I went to Nepal just before COVID all started. It was a promoter I spoke to for like 9 years prior to that. And so the time just came. So that's why I say to these young wrestlers, always try and just be ready. Because to be honest, I probably don't feel I was as ready as I should have been. It sort of came out of the blue. And but the time came and I performed, and it was an all trip paid for to Nepal. We wrestled up in the Himalayan mountains. So unofficially, the highest altitude wrestling show done. It was quite thin air up there. It rained, which was there was an outdoor event. We're not as fortunate as to have venues like we do here. But it was a great experience, and great to see the culture, and you know, main eventing in a foreign country is like, you know, I mean, and maybe it's not quite WWE, but it's still something very special to me.
Yeah, no, that's insane. That's awesome.
Are there any other federations that you've worked for?
I've worked for quite a few. The most notable one would be PCW, which are doing some really good things right now. They've got their own purpose-built facility, great training school, and great setup there. They've got their own online app, which is quite professional. And in this day and age, like that's really up there. I've worked for PWA. I've done NAW, which is a long-standing company down here, a bit old school, but a great company.
AWF you've worked for. Yeah, I was going to say, I've seen one of them, yeah.
Greg gave me many opportunities in coming up in my career, and I got to be on shows with some ex-WWE guys and overseas guys. He even used to have enough trust in me to go pick up guys from the airport, and Daniel Bryan being one of them before he made WWE. Wow. So I had Daniel Bryan in my car with him along with Nigel McGuinness. So that was quite an honor. So, yeah.
You mean Bryan Danielson?
Oh, yeah. You say tomato, I say tomato.
No, that would have been cool. Did you pick his brain in the car, or?
Yeah, really, really nice guy. really a lot of respect for. A lot of those guys that I've been around. I mean, I've been fortunate to wrestle like guys like Toledo, Chris Masters. I've trained with guys like Chavo, Bob Holly, Tessa Blanchard. You know, like
Wow.
I've had a really cool time rubbing shoulders with a lot of them.
Nigel McGuinness. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What a talent. he
Orlando
is.
Jordan as well, didn't you? Yeah.
Orlando Jordan, I lived with for a year. Yeah. Orlando.
Wow.
That's something that I did mention earlier. Orlando spent a lot of time training with me. I lived with him for a year. And we originally got booked against each other in PCW. I was the current champion, and they booked me in a match against him. And we really got along, and he opened up a school here. So I probably pissed off a few people along the way, but I thought it was a good venture, and I was a head trainer at PCW, and I sort of jumped ship to help Orlando, which I didn't mean to be disrespectful to anyone, but I just thought it was a good opportunity and pick his brain and learn that style. Because up until then, everything that was taught in Australia was only really kind of learnt from Australia, you know? So
Yeah.
only guys like Carlo Cannon, who'd been to Lance Storms, and a few other guys had been overseas. They started funneling in some of that stuff from overseas. And so I saw that as a great opportunity. And Orlando was a really cool dude, and I learnt a lot from. And
I know for me personally, after I had my match, I was obviously very, very new to the wrestling business, if you like to call it. And I remember just saying to you, like, can you just watch one of my matches? And you're like, yeah, no dramas. Yeah, I'll watch it. And you told me a lot of things that, I didn't really realize that, I was doing wrong. But like someone like with your experience, it was just fantastic to get that feedback, So I really appreciate what you did. And, it's not just for me, but you do it for a lot of the guys there at VCW. So you are really a big part of VCW, even though you don't live in Sydney. A lot of the guys respect you and really take what you say into account. So honestly, like for myself, I like to say thank you, but I guess the whole VCW and all the young guys coming through really thank you too. So no, you're very good, and appreciate everything you've done, man.
Thank you, man. Like that's just one thing for me. Wrestling has come a long way since when I started. I feel like my generation, we kind of like took it next level and made a lot of inroads for guys that are now able to go to WWE and stuff. Like, for example, Indy Hartwell, she was a fan of mine. They got into wrestling. We tag teamed for a little while, and then now look where she is.
Wow.
Guys like Buddy Murphy, we used to be friends and stuff, and then he made WWE. He's a great talent. He deserved to be there. And so, there's been a lot of opportunities. But one that sort of gets forgotten about is Tenille Dashwood, who I trained with down at PWA, and there was no NXT like there is now. And she got herself over there, went to Lance Storms, and sort of got those inroads. And I feel like sometimes she gets a little bit forgotten about. She was everyone before you kind of paves the way a little bit more. Makes it a little bit easier. And I feel like if I can share some knowledge that can help someone, then I've always appreciated those who've taught me something. So if I can share that, then hopefully it helps somebody.
One of the things I love about you is the amount of money that you make selling your masks. it's like the hottest ticket item at the show. It's like I look around and I'm like, man, every kid has got a little Chris Tr mask on, like glowing in the flashing in the dark. I'm going, how good is this, mate? You're killing it.
Yeah, I remember turning on, I think, a WrestleMania, I think it was, or something, and seeing Mustafa Ali with a similar style mask, and I was like, hey, I've inspired somebody, so that's how I use some money. And,
hang on a second. I'm getting a text from Vulcan. Hang on. Yeah, look, he said for next shows and that he wants 50% of what you make.
What the bad thing was? I had pretty much ran out of stock by the time COVID just started, and I was like, as a golden opportunity there. People could all be walking around the streets with light up masks.
Exactly right. Perfect time to really, really clean up in this COVID situation we're in. Eh? Unreal.
Yeah. So, Chris, if you could pick one wrestler, past or present, to have a dream match with, who would it be?
Ooh. That is a hard one. Somebody I feel I would have a good match with. Look, I think, yeah, obviously Macho Man would be pretty cool to have a match against.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Or Shawn Michaels, maybe. Shawn Michaels would be pretty cool. I just feel like that's sort of my style, my tempo is that era of wrestling. I look at some of these young guys now and I'm like, man, I can't run around that fast.
Yeah.
How about the Hitman? Surely.
The Hitman, yeah, that'd be great. A very technical style.
Ric Flair.
There's many. But maybe someone here local. I always wanted to wrestle Slex. And
wow.
And the thing is, like, for those who don't know, Slex was there for a big part of my, coming up, and I've seen the transformation in him and seen how like great in shape he got and his style, and I always wondered, could I hang with him, and I just want to see if I could have a match with him. And yeah, I think that's more, for memory's sake and that. So a lot of respect to him. But yeah.
Yeah, nice. So who's been your favorite opponent that you have faced?
My old buddy Danny Psycho was probably, me and him had some many wars and beat actually the respect out of each other. I think we became really good friends, and I was even part of his wedding, and that sort of came about just wrestling each other, and we wanted to raise the bar at that time, and we would just go hard, hammer and tong on each other. I remember one match, we had this big chop fest, and he said to me, "We want to chop each other till we bleed." And I'm like, third chop in, he hit me that hard, he dislocated his finger. Put that in perspective.
Wow.
And and then we kept going, and we did the whole sequence outside the ring, back in the ring, and the ref at the time, Rowdy, he's like, "You guys gonna do something different?" Or just hang on. And then I bailed, being the bad guy. I just bailed out of the ring. And then there comes Danny with this beautiful backwards flip out of the ring. And the crowd just pops, I was like, that moment was just kind of fun.
And you love a good chop session, don't you?
Yeah, I think chops get a good reaction from the crowd.
They do.
There's a real fine line, though. If it gets overdone, it takes away from the show. And so I feel, and this is what I tell guys, let me get that good chop in, and I only need to do one. You know what I mean? But yeah, sometimes it gets a bit overused. But yeah, I do like a good chop and a good solid forearm.
A lot of times when I've seen you, like after a wrestling match, I see your chest, and it's just like, wow, like it's been chopped a few times. You love it, eh? Like I just like, it's pretty cool. But it's good.
Other than pro wrestling, is there any other passions or anything you're interested in?
Funny you say that, I've always been a fan of Aussie rules football. Unfortunately, not rugby boys, but Aussie rules. And my team's actually going into the grand final, the Western Bulldogs. I did have to make that choice of wrestling or footy at a younger age, and I'm like, but yeah, always keep an eye on the footy and have fun. Can I
tell you something about you Melbournians? All right, you always talk about rugby league. You call it rugby. Now, I understand that rugby league has rugby in it, but when you say rugby, the world knows it as rugby union. So, let me just tell you something, right? It's a rugby league. If you say rugby, it's talking about union. But I get it. Look, you guys don't watch rugby league, which is fair call. But Aussie rules or AFL is the really the sport of Australia, really. So I get it, and I understand the game. It's actually quite a good game. I'm more of a Carlton man myself. You probably hate me for that. but yeah, I just want to clarify just in case because, just a lot of Melbournians are like, oh, yeah, you watch your rugby. And it's like, yeah, just call it rugby league if you can.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right there. Go the Storm.
Oh my God, it's disgusting. I mean, you guys have 20 years playing in the competition. You just won it about 18 times. Anyway.
Better than the Bulldogs there, Xander.
Look, I don't follow the Bulldog. I follow the Western Bulldogs in AFL, mate. It's all good.
Yeah,
We're going well.
Yeah.
Mate, your goals in VCW, what are they in the future? Like, what are you thinking?
Look, one thing I've always wanted to do is bring that VCW title home. And just before COVID all started, when I got back from Nepal, I was starting to run red hot again. I had that triple threat with Mike and with Vega, and we didn't end up having that triple threat. And since then I've sort of fallen out of that picture, but I really wanted to just come get that title. And
I'll be honest, you definitely deserve to hold that strap too, mate. Like I said, like the work you've done in and out of the ring for the boys and everything. So like you definitely deserve to at least get another shot for the VCW heavyweight title. You know.
Yeah. Definitely. I love to hold it high and hold it proud because I think VCW is a great promotion, and I think I've seen everyone over the years all grow. You get some really good guys coming through too. The new guys like Ollie Wood, give him a shout out.
Ollie.
Hudson's always been I've wrestled him a couple times now, and he's always a good, tough opponent. A really nice guy. I have a lot of respect for Hudson. Yeah,
we had him on the pod not long ago. But he's a nice guy, a gentle giant. Until you piss him off.
I've done that a couple of times. So,
who's the nicest guy in VCW? Now I know they're all nice guys, but who's the one that stands out for you? And you go, you know what, that guy's a really good chap.
One very. What's the word I'm trying to say? One guy that gets sort of not unappreciated, but goes under the radar a little bit is Chris Zorba. He does a lot for the promotion.
How did I know you were going to say that name?
Especially with me being over in Melbourne and obviously not being there at the school all the time or training or anything. He's been very helpful in connecting me to you guys, and I know Vulcan's not online, so Zorba helps a lot there. I think Chris is like really, really nice guy, but I think Hudson's was great. He was my first opponent over there. He was very helpful, and my boy Tony Cruz, their cruiserweight champion.
Oh mate, don't go there. Don't go there. He last week he just barged in our show. He just unannounced and he was just so full of himself. But anyway, look, that was last week, and this week is this week. But
we're moving on.
Yeah, we're moving on. Listen, so obviously you're telling me who the nicest guy is. Yeah, fair call. But I want to know who the biggest grub in VCW is.
Oh,
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Can we add another one to the tally?
Let's have a look.
Are we talking about the man?
Oh, we've done it again. Lee Moreau.
Look. I think he should be one of the nicest guys because he helped boost my mask sales the time that I went head to head with him. Okay, we both came in there, looked upon as the bad guys, but he was much more of a bad guy, and my mask sales went up ever since then. So, but no, look, Lee's he's a true professional. Look at the shape he's in, and he wants to go far in this business, and I think he can do it. But yeah. He's probably the biggest grub.
I mean, if I'm not pissing in his pocket, to be honest, he does tick all the boxes. Yeah, I mean, the rig, the character, his wrestling moves, the whole thing, his promo skills. So he does tick all the boxes, and yeah, he lives there, like they all say, he lives the gimmick 24/7.
Yeah. I think that's important, that your character isn't, exaggeration of yourself, so it helps a lot, because people see real and fake, you know what I mean? And people, with the way the media, the internet is now, and WWE specials and stuff, they know a lot of inside stuff. So if you can blur that line and people don't know, that's people connect to real, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
No, I have to agree 100%.
So like we talked about, you're a veteran of the business now. Do you have any tips for any young wannabe pro wrestlers out there that, want to get into the industry?
don't. No. Yeah, look, it's a hard time right now with the whole COVID and the way the world is right now, but be prepared. So when the time comes that shows can start again and you can train again and stuff, do what you can now. Do some training at home. Get your body right, because it's a big body game. Just respect those who came before you, whether you like what they do or what they don't do. Treat everyone with respect. Help out wherever you can. So, if it means that, like for me, for example, I came up through a training school of, like, you earned your spot on the card, where there's a lot of these days guys do a training school, they get shot on the card. I set up rings and pulled down rings for like nearly 2 years before I even got like a spot as a security guard to get bashed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I respected that because it made me hungry, and it weans out like the guys that really want to be there and don't want to be there. Like there's one good kid right down here in Melbourne. You'll probably see his name start popping up. Kid Valiant. He's a kid who he's done everything before he got a shot to wrestle. He helps out in media. He helps out. The Rock's line of know your role. Okay, some people just can't be the wrestler. It doesn't mean they can't contribute to the show in some way or form. So all I'm saying is, just be respectful, pick people's brains. You don't have to take all the knowledge that you get given, but you can decipher through it what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Yep. Be different. Be different. Don't try to be the next Triple H, because they've already got Triple H. Be something different. Model off that. But make it different. So
yeah, I think that's some good advice there, especially character-wise. Yeah, like you're saying, be different. It's good to sort of, just see what you can do. How artistic you can be with your character. Because I love your character, to be honest. I think it's fantastic, the whole trans thing and with the masks and all that, and it really engages the young crowd, and it's wicked. Like, so before I even seen you wrestle, I was like, okay, Chris Tr, I'll get it. I wonder how it's gonna go though. Like, you know what I mean? And when you see all the kids and the even some adults there wearing the mask and really getting into your character, you've really nailed that. And it's one of those things, like you said, you got to sort of just do something that no one else has done and really go for it. And I think you've done that really well. But all props to you anyway.
Cheers, Xander.
Well, mate, I guess that'll do us for today's show. Chris Tr, mate, I want to thank you so much for joining us. We're definitely going to have you back on the show, mate, sometime, especially when COVID's all done. And a big thank you to everyone who is listening via YouTube or Facebook. Don't forget to like us on the Facebook page or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll catch you next week. See you later.
Transplant.